Raymond loved to see people getting socked. And the times that I've been around him, I remember at Fremont one day, this tall guy, he looked like a nerd, was walking across the campus. Cold thing about it was me, my brother Bobby, and my brother Wooly, my cousin Archie. We didn't have no business at the school. We have to try and get females' phone numbers. And who pops up? Here come Robert and Raymond. And they stands right next to us. And then Raymond tells Robert, that guy is just as tall as you. I bet you can't knock him out. Robert went over there and hit him. The guy got to running and stuff. Next thing you know, here comes security. And all that day around campus, and the next day, the Lavender brothers and Robert Monson and Raymond, they all together, man. They all together. They did this. No, we didn't. But Raymond would do stuff like that, and this is just real. Raymond, you're not going to get a pass too much from any of the original gang leaders versus Bobby. I'd rather get caught by a Bobby Lavender than I would a Junior Thomas or anybody else like that.
You know, after I received your book you sent me, thanks for the book.
Thank you.
I read it, I gave you a call, and I asked you, I said, Jimmy, what's your real issue with Raymond Washington? That's the answer you gave me. So now you done basically reiterated it. So let me ask you this. Did that incident weigh on you that much that you felt bothered by it and you remember that incident so well?
At the day at Fremont?
Yes.
That was probably one of many incidents. It did not, maybe I used that so many times when people ask me about incident. That was probably one of the stories I would always tell, and that stayed in my mind a whole lot. But Raymond had his good sides about him too. But then again, yeah, I think what I want people to know, when I talk about a Raymond Washington, I talk about a Raymond from 15 to maybe 17. When he got really big in the Crips, I didn't see him too much. We didn't see each other pass, and we always gonna shake each other's hand. If I saw a crowd of Crips over there and I see Raymond, I can get out. I'm okay. Raymond, Alton, Psycho Michael, those guys over there, I can get out. I'm okay. And it's the same thing on our end. They can get out because our leaderships didn't fight one another. It was always cool.
So another question was, because you always talk about whether it's on camera or off camera, Raymond was my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, and then some people ask me, how can he talk about Raymond like that if they're friends? Well, my question would be, Raymond used to sit at your mother's table, right?
Well, he sit at there one time.
Yeah. One time, okay. And y'all ate together?
Mother? Yeah.
So that's kind of, I mean, everybody's not invited into your mama's house when you're a kid.
Right.
What did she think of Raymond?
My mother, and I said it before, my mother actually made a big difference between Bobby and myself, and that bothered me for a lot of years. But my big homie Clyde Clay said to me just a couple of years ago, he said, you know, he could still call my mother Dorothy, and he says, you know why, Dorothy, always made a difference between you and Bobby? I said, why? He said, Bobby went to school. Bobby got A's and B's and ran for class president. You kept mama in the dean's office. She had come from work all the time, from elementary to high school. You was always into something, Jim. And he said, so that's why your mother seemed to favor Bobby. Now, when my brother told my mother that Raymond was coming over, Raymond had been over before, so she knew who Raymond was. And so she said okay, and she picked some chili beans so we can have some stuff to eat on. Or she may have already cooked them, but she just made enough. And so Bobby told her that we had a social club. And at the same time that we're going to try to end some of the violence in the streets and all that stuff. And Raymond was the leader of the Crips, and this is who can help us end this. So my mother welcomed that type of thing.
But this is a great thing for the audience. So way back then, the people in the know, the people really in the circle, the people that really knew Raymond, considered him or knew he was the leader of the Crips.
Yeah.
The beefing.
Yeah, that was Raymond's baby. The Crips was Raymond's baby. I'd like to tell you a story that a lot of people who say they know Raymond. I can tell you a couple of stories. I can tell you that two short stories. Of course, you heard of Craig Monson.
Yes.
Now, when there was a liquor store on 78th and Central, right where he got killed at, and to show you how things were, I'm Bishop. But I work in that store as a box boy, right in the heart of the Crip neighborhood. I didn't fear nothing. What they gonna do to me? Maybe some little youngster might come by and try to do something, but the Crips, they ain't gonna do nothing. I mean, the Crips, they my friends. So I stayed there a week getting training, then I ended up on 68th and Central. But here's the thing. People say they know Craig Craddock really well, but I ain't never heard anybody talk about Craig Craddock's favorite activity, what he liked to do. And now we know that Craig, and I'm not putting Craig down, he was cool. I'm not gonna say a friend, but we was cool. Well, Craig would stand out in front of that liquor store and he would ask for nickels, dimes, whatever, and get him a drink. But on a Wednesday, Craig wasn't trying to get that money for no drink. Craig was trying to get that money to go down there to the Olympic Auditorium and watch WWE wrestling that night. That's what Craig go every Wednesday. And then he come back and he want to wrestle with Raymond. I mean, he loved to try to put Raymond in the headlock. Now, you can talk to Alden and Cycle, and the guys that really know Raymond, they know about that kind of stuff. Now, here's a story about Raymond. A lot of people know that there was tension between Bulldog and Raymond. I hope I don't get in trouble for this because I won't call no names because I know some people listening to this and their parents are the females. But check this out to show you how every gang member don't hate each other. See, everybody don't hate each other. Raymond Burns from the Avenues was dating the older sister. Raymond Washington, Raymond had his girlfriend. Raymond had some girlfriends. And Raymond was dating the other girl. Jimel was dating the other girl. And I was dating the cousin. And when there's Thanksgiving or something like that, all of us are sitting at the same table. We're not talking about gangster stuff or all that kind of stuff. I don't know what we're talking about. But Raymond and Jimel had issues in the past. But we all at the same table. We ain't tripping. We coming together as some brothers. Now, where did the tension came in? Raymond was so busy, I guess, recruiting or entertaining the different Crips from the different cities, Compton, wherever Raymond was doing. But Raymond wasn't coming around that much. So Bulldog, and the girls live over there by Bulldog. Bulldog tipped in on the one that Raymond was messing with. And they got together. And, anyway, Bulldog ended up having a baby with her. And that child and Jamel's child by the other sisters are first cousins. Yeah. So Bulldog was really, Raymond was really mad with Bulldog. And I mean, it came down to being close to putting them up. But I guess somebody was the bigger man. I don't know how it ended. I just remember all the tension.
But a lot of beef start over a female.
A lot of beef starts over a female.
Yeah, so that part don't surprise me, but that's a good story I never heard before.
Yeah, they but I'm from the east side, and I knew these guys, as you know, way before. We was all friends way before the Crips and all that started. I knew these guys, most of them while there was Avenues. I knew these guys. So it's not like I'm a know-it-all, but I was right there in that circle.
Right.
So, I mean, it was nothing to see me and Kenny walking down the street or talking. We wasn't strangers. Mm-hmm. You see, Teddy Bear from the Avenues was like a big brother to me. So Raymond Burns was like family. So, it's nothing. We all grew up there together. I think the guys that would speak on like the likes of Raymond Washington are really knowing is going to be guys that went to Drew Junior High School and Edison Junior High School. I speak on Raymond Athleticism. You spoke the other day about the good athletes that came from the neighborhood. Raymond was one of them. Mm-hmm. Raymond was one of them. And you can't take that from him. On that diving board, that low diving board, man. And he had his muscles. And boy, look here, man. He looked good up there on that board flipping and stuff like that. Swimming and diving. Another one was Conrad Williams.
Stop. Okay. The other one was Conrad Williams.
Uh-huh. Conrad was awesome. Raymond was on the small diving board, and Conrad would be on the high dive. And I'll tell you something else. You interview Alfred Pickney. Mm-hmm. Ooh, could he cut it up on that high? Him and his brothers, the twin brothers, Ronald and Donald, they too can cut it up on that high dive. They don't even play with that living diving, that small diving board. So, and now Raymond was, we played some dangerous games because ducking each other in the water, holding each other by the neck, taking each other in the water. I couldn't take Raymond by myself. He's too strong. And what Raymond had over most of us was he knew how to tread water. You know how you just tread water and you stand in one place? Most of us on the dog paddle. Can you see us on a dog paddle and having a water fight? So, and Raymond was so playful was, if I jump in the water and I'm going across the pool and he's diving off the board, I'm looking because once he come out the water, he might want to attack you and start wrestling. So the rest of us are on at that time Rosevelt didn't have an inside pool and everybody on concrete. So soon Raymond come up on me, everybody start hitting the water. It didn't matter who he come. So Raymond found himself a lot of times with 4 or 5 guys on him to take him underwater because he was upper body strength. Now when you see Raymond on some of these photos, he's trimmed down. But in junior high school, if you look at the picture of him in this book, Raymond got a nice sized head on him. And that body wouldn't look right with a guy with that head. So you can see that Raymond had trimmed down a lot. But back in the 9th grade, he was husky, muscular, and he was just a beast, man. He was hard to bring down in that water. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was hard.
So tell the people where they can pick your book up and how much it costs.
Right now the books are $19.99, and you can pick it up at Amazon.com. The name of my book is Bitter Rain in a Better Tomorrow, and you can pick it up at Amazon.com.
Oh, that's good.
Or Amazon Books.
All right, so I'm going to ask you like I ask everybody, is there anything else you want to leave before we go?
I'm going to speak on my book. I think the book is full of so much information. It's a lot about my family history. My great-great-grandfather fought in the War of the State of Jones during the Civil War. That's interesting to me. It talks about the racism that me and my family faced in the South before coming here. It talks about a lot of things that happened in the early 70s and 60s. It talks about the Patty Hearst situation, the Black Panthers, and the Black Muslims at the same time. It speaks on the Kennedy assassination. There's just so much about the 60s that it's going to give us in the early 70s. It talks about what Bobby did after the life of a gangster. It talks about the program TROP that I have where we feed people, and we actually in July have a program where we're looking to feed 3,000 people. So it talks about my mother being a pioneer for women at General Motors. So it talks about my family a little bit, and it's just it's a lot of history in that book. It's getting a lot of high ratings, and as it should. There's a lot of things you guys don't know that you will know in there, and it tells you something about who we really are. And other than somebody that might have been co-founders or leaders of a gang, it tells you who we were as a person. And I look at it as, I always felt that I was a troubled youngster, and maybe when you read the book, then you could, decide yourself, did he have a problem as a youngster? And if so, I'd like to hear about it.
Okay, I'll just text Miss Kenya Ware about the Raymond Washington project. So if they call back, y'all can talk and decide what you want to do. All right?
Okay.
All right, cool. Give me a...